coronavirus, which was causing SARS.
Growing the virus is one thing. Proving the relationship between the virus and SARS is another very important landmark in the workup of SARS.
Yoon and his team developed an antibody test for the detection of SARS in infected patients and suggested the use of a particular antiviral drug as well as steroids to treat patients, something which experts now say is not necessary.
When you cannot give oxygen to a patient is going to die, you have to consider using steroid. Now, I'm not defending it. Not everybody needs steroid. I'm not defending it, but some patients may need steroid. But now, even this, you may not need to do it.
Yoon and his team cracked the genetic code of the killer virus after it was traced back to civet cats, which had been infected by Chinese horseshoe bats. A decade later, he's warning that we can't afford to be complacent.
It can come back easily if you open up all the wildlife markets again, putting all these bats, civets and raccoon dog together. I'm sure that it will come back. Because around 15–20% of the Chinese horseshoe bats are shedding the virus. Looking back is not going to have very much. We do have to march forward and face the brave new world.
2 teenage Hong Kong girls have been found safe after police here sent 3 officers to Argentina, fearing they were being detained illegally. Security Secretary Lai Deng-kwok said the 2, aged 17 and 18, had contacted the Chinese embassy in the Argentine capital on their own. The pair have retrieved their travelling documents and will return to Hong Kong after helping Argentine police with their investigation. One of the girls has sent a WhatsApp message to her boyfriend saying she was being held by men demanding money for a valuable vase she had broken. At least 28 fans and a driver have been injured after a 10-car pileup sent a tire and debris flying into the spectator stands during a NASCAR race in Daytona, Florida. ATV's Hailing Chan reports.
This wasn't what racing fans were expecting at the Daytona Speedway in the U.S. state of Florida. A tire from one of the cars went flying into the crowds along with all the debris. Dozens of fans, including a teenager as well as a driver, were injured in the 10-car pileup.
First and foremost, our thoughts and prayers are with our race fans. Following the incident, we responded appropriately according to our safety protocols and had emergency medical personnel at the incident immediately.
The fencing that kept the cars from the crowds was ripped open by the flying debris.
And I think, we need to take the time to really study it and see what we can improve on. And if we can, certainly, the safety of our fans is first and foremost, and we'll make that happen.
The race was the curtain raiser for NASCAR's top event, the Daytona 500, which is still being held despite the accident.
Sports now, and it's back to the Hong Kong Marathon. Runners from Africa swept the board in the full race, and local runners did well in the half marathon and 10-kilometer race. Here's Britton Clennett.
Some of the world's best runners were in town to compete in the 17th Hong Kong Marathon. As usual, the Africans wasted no time getting to the front of the pack in the main event, the 42-kilometre race. Kenya's Julius Marseille was first to rip the tape at the finishing line. The 32-year-old completed the race in 2 hours, 14 minutes and 18 seconds, ahead of compatriot James Mabagwa and Ethiopia's Deribe Robi in third. It was third time lucky for Marseille.
Today I feel very good because I remember my first marathon near 2011. I was number 2. Then last year I was number 4. And then today actually I am very grateful to be number 1. I feel good.
Ethiopia's Misika Demisi won the women's race for the second year in a row, clocking in at 2.5 hours. She's the first woman in the history of the marathon to retain the title.
A lot of training for me. It's like, I'm happy. Yeah.
Hong Kong's Yu Kit-ching won the women's half marathon in 1 hour, 20 minutes and 47 seconds. Another local runner, Joyce Zheng, clinched the women's 10-kilometre race in 39 minutes and 32 seconds. There were 2 wheelchair events this year. The 3-kilometre race was added to the marathon last year, and a half marathon race, which is new this time round.
Finally tonight, there's mystery over a mural by graffiti artist Banksy after it was removed from a wall in London and reappeared at a US auction only to be taken off. While Banksy's work is seen as art, authorities in Beijing are not impressed by visitors' graffiti in the Forbidden City. Bo Lang reports.
With historical artifacts in Beijing's Forbidden City defaced by graffiti, there are calls to get tougher on vandals and irresponsible visitors. It's after words were found etched onto a bronze jar. Staff at the popular tourist spot said the graffiti on the priceless artifact has been removed and criticised visitors who damage or destroy China's heritage. Littering is also a problem, and cigarettes have been found strewn around the historical site. At the moment, there is only a heavy fine to protect the Great Wall. Anyone caught drawing graffiti will be fined between 10,000 and 50,000 yuan. But if they're caught defacing or destroying historical attractions elsewhere, the fine is only 200 yuan. Authorities in Britain are also dealing with graffiti, which is now considered art rather than vandalism by many. In London, new graffiti artwork has appeared on a wall from which a famous mural by the guerrilla artist known as Banksy was removed. The new mural shows graffiti work that reads "Danger, Thieves," with a woman wearing a nun's habit. The previous mural, known as Slave Labour, shows a young boy hunched over a sewing machine making Union Jack bunting. It disappeared from the side of a store in Wood Green last weekend and was controversially slated for auction in Florida. It was expected to fetch up to $700,000 US. But the Banksy artwork has now been withdrawn from auction, and there's no explanation from Fine Art Auctions Miami, which held the painting. Who owns the mural and how it ended up in an auction house shortly after going missing remains a mystery. Bo Lang, ATV News.
The weather forecast for the next few days: mainly cloudy tomorrow with coastal mist at night. Temperatures will range from 18 to 22 degrees. Sunny intervals with light rain on Tuesday and mainly cloudy with rain patches over the rest of the week. Here's a look at the weather around the world.